September 15, 1950, dawned gray over Incheon, Korea, the Yellow Sea churning with the promise of war. Corporal James Jim Holloway, a 21-year-old Marine from Tulsa, Oklahoma, gripped the rail of the USS De Haven, an Allen M. Sumner-class destroyer, as the 1st Marine Division prepared for the largest amphibious assault since D-Day. The son of a garage mechanic, Jim had traded wrenches for an M1 Garand rifle, its 8-round 30-06 clip a new tool in his calloused hands. Assigned to the 7th Marine Regiment, Company B, he was one of 25,000 UN troops under General Douglas MacArthur, tasked with recapturing Seoul from North Korean forces. His older brother, Lieutenant Tom Holloway, a Navy Corsair pilot with VF-53, had flown cover over Pyongyang until shot down a week prior, his fate unknown. Jim's kit weighed 60 pounds, the Garand, a bayonet, 120 rounds in bandoliers, a K-ration pack, 1,200 calories of crackers and chocolate, and a wool-lined parka against Korea's autumn chill. His squad, led by Captain William Harris, a wiry Texan with a drawl, huddled on the deck, M1 carbines and BARs, Browning automatic rifles, 20-round magazines slung beside them. "First big show, Holloway?" Harris asked, lighting a lucky strike. Jim nodded, eyes on the horizon. "Hoping Tom's up there watching." The captain clapped his shoulder. "He's got your back, Marine." At 06:30, the bombardment began. USS Missouri's 16-inch guns roared, 2,000-pound shells slamming Incheon's Worryingdo Island, silencing North Korean 76mm guns. Jim watched LSTs disgorge LVT-3s, amphibious tractors with .50 caliber machine guns, racing toward Green Beach. The 5th Marines hit first, 6,000 troops scaling seawalls under 40mm Bofors fire. By 1730, Jim's 7th Regiment splashed ashore, boots sloshing in mud, the tide rising 29 feet as MacArthur predicted. North Korean resistance, KPA 226th Regiment, faded under naval barrages, their T-34-85 tanks bogged in tidal flats, 75mm recoilless rifles picking them off at 300 yards. The beachhead secured 1,000 yards by dusk, but Jim's squad faced chaos. A KPA sniper 7.62mm round from a warehouse clipped Private Red Malone, blood spurting from his thigh. Jim dropped beside him, tearing open a sulfa packet. "Hold still, Red." The wound staunched, he dragged Malone to a corpsman, his Garand's wooden stock slick with mud. Captain Harris barked, "Push inland, Seoul's 20 miles." Jim's platoon advanced, M1s cracking at fleeing KPA, their PPSH-41 submachine guns abandoned in rice paddies. Intelligence buzzed with optimism. MacArthur's flanking maneuver trapped 40,000 North Koreans south of the Han River, per CIA estimates. Jim's company linked with the 1st Tank Battalion, M26 Pershings rumbling past, their 90mm guns outranging T-34s. But a letter from home, tucked in his pack, gnawed at him. His mother, Elsie, wrote, "Tom's squadron says he's missing. Find him, Jimmy." Tom, 24, had flown F-4U-4 Corsairs, his last mission strafing KPA trucks. Jim scanned the sky, hoping for a parachute, but found only smoke. By September 17th, the 7th Marines pushed toward Kimpo Airfield, 10 miles south. Jim's squad cleared a village, BAR bursts silencing a machine gun nest, its Type 99 LMG silenced at 200 yards. A Korean boy, no older than 10, clutched a rice bowl, eyes wide. Jim offered a K-ration bar, whispering, "Peace, kid." The boy fled, but the gesture stuck, war's innocence lost. That night, a radio crackle from X-Court HQ confirmed, "Seoul in 3 days, North's collapsing." Jim cleaned his Garand, its 24-inch barrel gleaming, but unease grew. A captured KPA officer muttered of Chinese coming, rumors MacArthur dismissed. On September 19th, Kimpo fell, C-47 Skytrains landing on repaired runways. Jim's platoon dug in, sandbags piled against 120mm mortars. A patrol found Tom's wingman, Lieutenant Jack Reed, wounded near a crashed Corsair. "Tom went down over the Chosin," Jack gasped. "Flak got him." Jim's heart sank, but hope flickered. Tom might be alive in PO camps. Harris rallied the squad. "We're heading north. Find your brother if we can." Jim nodded, Garand loaded, eyes on the horizon where Chosin Reservoir loomed, 200 miles north, a frozen unknown. October 1950 painted Korea in autumn hues, the hills gold and crimson as the 1st Marine Division marched north from Seoul, a 200-mile trek toward the Chosin Reservoir. Corporal James "Jim" Holloway, 21, trudged with Company B, 7th Marines, his M1 Garand slung over a wool parka, its 8-round 30-06 clip loaded with hope and dread. Seoul had fallen by September 28th. MacArthur's flanking maneuver trapping 40,000 North Korean People's Army troops south of the Han River, per X-Corps reports. Jim's squad, led by Captain William Harris, rolled in M26 Pershing tanks toward the 38th parallel, their 90mm guns rumbling over rutted roads. His brother Tom's fate, shot down over Chosin, drove him, a whisper in every step. The advance was a victory parade turned slog. Kimpo Airfield, secured September 19, buzzed with C-47 Skytrains dropping supplies, K-rations, 60mm mortar rounds, and medical kits. Jim's platoon cleared villages, M1 carbines cracking at KPA stragglers, their PPSH-41 submachine guns littering the fields. A captured officer, his Type 99 rifle broken, muttered of Chinese reinforcements, 120,000 from the 9th Army crossing the Yalu River. MacArthur scoffed, calling it bluff, but Jim's gut tightened. A letter from his mother, Elsie, arrived October 10th. No word on Tom. Keep safe, Jimmy. He tucked it beside Tom's dog tags, a pilot's relic from VF-53. By October 19, the 7th Marines reached Wonsan, a port on Korea's east coast, where LSTs unloaded M4 Sherman tanks, their 75mm guns a welcome sight. Jim's squad patrolled rice paddies, boots sinking in mud, the air thick with the stench of burned thatch. A North Korean sniper's 7.62mm round grazed Private Ray Red Malone's arm, blood soaking his sleeve. Jim dropped, applying sofa powder. Hold still, Red. The corpsman stitched it under a poncho, but Malone's grin faded. Chosin's next, huh? Jim nodded, eyes on the northern hills where snow dusted the peaks. The push to Chosin began November 1. X-Corps, split across Korea's waste, ordered the 1st Marine Division, 15,000 strong, toward the Reservoir, a hydroelectric hub 50 miles from the Chinese border. Jim's company rode deuce-and-a-half trucks, their canvas flaps flapping, M1 Garands propped against ammo crates. Captain Harris briefed, link with the 1st ROK Division at Hagura-ri. Expect light resistance, but patrols reported footprints, hundreds, barefoot, vanishing into forests. Chinese 7th Infantry Division, per later intel, had infiltrated, their padded cotton uniforms blending with snow. November 10th brought the first clash. Near Sudong, 1,500 Chinese troops ambushed a recon platoon, their burp guns, Type 50 SMGs, spitting 7.62mm rounds. Jim's squad deployed, Garands barking at 300 yards, their 2,440 feet per second muzzle velocity dropping enemies in gray coats. A BAR team firing 20-round bursts silenced a machine gun nest, its Type 24 Maxim abandoned. Jim crawled to a wounded corporal, shrapnel in his chest, jabbing a morphine syringe. Hang on. The line held, but 50 Marines fell, their blood freezing in the -10-degree F night. Rumors swirled. A captured Chinese soldier, shivering in a foxhole, spoke broken English. 9 armies come. You die. Intelligence confirmed November 27th. 120,000 in 30 divisions had crossed the Yalu River, encircling UN forces. Jim's platoon dug in at Udamni, a village south of Chosin, their foxholes shallow in rocky soil. M2 flamethrowers roared, incinerating Chinese positions, but the enemy's human wave tactics, 10,000 attacking nightly, tested resolve. Jim wrote Elsie, Tom's shadow over Chosin, pray for us. The mail stopped as snow fell, and thunder loomed. By November 26th, the 7th Marines held a 10-mile perimeter, Pershings clanking through passes, their tracks frozen. Jim's Garand jammed in the cold, its bolts sticky with ice. He cleaned it with a K-ration spoon, a mechanic's trick. A patrol found Tom's crash site, a burned Corsair, no body, but a scarf stitched with Holloway by Elsie. Jim clutched it, tears freezing. "I'll find you, Tom." As Chinese bugles sounded, heralding the assault, Jim braced, his rifle ready, the reservoir's icy grip tightening. November 27th, 1950, shattered the stillness over Udam-ni, a village south of the Chosin Reservoir, as Chinese bugles pierced the -20 Fahrenheit night. Corporal James Jim Holloway, 21, crouched with Company B, 7th Marines, his M1 Garand trembling in gloved hands, its 8-round clip half spent. The 1st Marine Division, 15,000 strong, held a thin line against 120,000 Chinese from the 9th Army, their ambush igniting the Korean War's deadliest trap. Captain William Harris, voice hoarse, barked, "Hold the ridge! Pershings incoming!" Jim's squad, dug into frozen soil, faced a human wave, 10,000 gray-coated soldiers charging with Type 50 SMGs and grenades. The attack began at 0200. Chinese 60mm mortars rained shrapnel, their bursts lighting snow in crimson flashes. Jim's platoon, 40 men, returned fire, Garands cracking at 300 yards, their 30-06 rounds dropping enemies in waves. A bar team, firing 20-round bursts, silenced a machine gun nest, its Type 24 Maxim abandoned amid bodies. Private Ray Red Malone, arm bandaged from Sudong, lobbed an M9 fragmentation grenade, its 5-meter kill radius scattering a squad. But the Chinese pressed, their padded uniforms absorbing bullets, bugles rallying them onward. Jim's foxhole partner, Corporal Dan Ruiz, a medic from San Antonio, shouted, "Reloading! Cover me!" Jim swung his Garand, bayonet fixed, thrusting at a Chinese soldier breaching the line, the 10-inch blade sinking into cotton. Blood froze on steel as he yanked it free, his breath ragged. A mortar burst nearby, shrapnel slicing Ruiz's leg. Jim dragged him to cover, applying sulfa. "Stay with me, Doc." Ruiz groaned, morphine syringe in hand, but his eyes dulled, internal bleeding, untreatable in the cold. By 0400, the 7th Marines' perimeter buckled. Chinese 122mm howitzers hidden in hills pounded Udam-ni, collapsing a command post. Jim's squad linked with a Pershing tank, its 90mm gun roaring, shells bursting 1,000 yards out. But ammunition dwindled. Garand clips down to 20 rounds per man, bar belts nearly spent. Captain Harris rallied, "Fix bayonets! Hold till dawn!" Jim's platoon charged, Garands clashing with Chinese bayonets, the melee a blur of steel and screams. He killed a soldier, face young as his own, guilt searing his chest. Dawn revealed 300 Marine dead, 500 wounded per regimental logs. The Chinese retreated, leaving 2,000 bodies, their human wave broken but not defeated. Jim's company, down to 30 effectives, huddled in a schoolhouse aid station. He bandaged Private Joe Buck Larson's frost-bitten fingers, whispering, "Tom's out there, Buck. We'll find him." Buck nodded, shivering. "If he's alive, he's tough as you." A radio crackle from Hagaruri, 12 miles south, confirmed, "Surrounded. Breakout ordered." Jim cleaned his Garand, its barrel iced, preparing for the reservoir's frozen hell. As snow fell, Chinese bugles sounded again, and Jim Holloway, blood on his hands, braced for the fight to come. November 28, 1950, locked the Chosin Reservoir in a vise of -35 Fahrenheit cold, the air so frigid it burned lungs. Corporal James Jim Holloway, 21, shivered with Company B, 7th Marines, in Udam-ni's ruins, his M1 Garand's bolt frozen despite oiling. The 1st Marine Division, 15,000 strong, faced 120,000 Chinese from the 9th Army, their encirclement tightening after the night's ambush. Captain William Harris, face etched with frost, ordered, "Dig in! Hagaru-ri's our lifeline." Jim's squad, 30 men, scraped foxholes in rock-hard ground, their wool parkas crusted with ice. The Chinese struck at dusk. 10,000 soldiers in padded coats, charged with Type 50 SMGs and satchel charges, their bugles a chilling dirge. Jim's platoon fired, Garand's barking, their 30-06 rounds dropping enemies at 400 yards. A BAR team, firing 20-round bursts, held a ridge, but a Chinese grenade exploded, killing the gunner. Jim crawled to Private Ray Red Malone, shrapnel in his side. "Doc's gone. Patch me." Jim tore open a sulfa packet, binding the wound, but Red's breath slowed, hypothermia setting in. "Hold on," Jim whispered, dragging him to a burning truck for warmth. Ammunition ran low. Garand clips dwindled to 10 rounds, M2 flamethrowers sputtering with frozen fuel. Chinese 122mm howitzers pounded, collapsing a supply dump. 200,000 rounds lost, per division logs. Jim's squad linked with a Pershing tank, its 90mm gun firing, but its tracks jammed in ice. Captain Harris rallied. "Bayonets! Push them back!" Jim fixed his blade, thrusting at a Chinese soldier. The clash, a desperate dance. A bullet grazed his arm, blood freezing on his sleeve, but adrenaline kept him moving. Night brought silence, then screams. Chinese sappers infiltrated, planting TNT under a mortar pit. The blast killed 15 Marines, including Lieutenant Paul Carter, his M1 carbine silenced. Jim pulled survivors, his hands numb, frostbite blackening his fingertips. A corpsman, frostbitten himself, injected morphine, muttering, "We're done, Holloway." Jim shook him. "Not yet." The aid station, a gutted barn, overflowed, 200 wounded, plasma bags solid, heaters dead. He wrapped a private's frostbit feet, knowing amputation loomed. A captured Chinese officer, shivering, spoke. "9 armies crush you. Retreat or die." Intelligence confirmed November 29. 30 Chinese divisions, 60,000 troops blocked escape routes. Jim found Tom's scarf near a crashed jeep, blood-stained, hope fading. He wrote Elsie on a scrap. "Tom's trail cold. I'm fighting." The mail never left. As -40° F winds howled, Jim's squad huddled, Garand's iced, awaiting the breakout. The reservoir's frozen hell held them, and Jim Holloway, bloodied and frostbit, clung to survival. November 30th, 1950 marked the beginning of the Chosin Reservoir breakout, a 78-mile odyssey through hell. Corporal James Jim Holloway, 21, limped with Company B 7th Marines, his frostbitten fingers gripping an M1 Garand, its 8-round clip half frozen. The 1st Marine Division, 15,000 strong, faced 120,000 Chinese from the 9th Army, their lines shattered but relentless. Captain William Harris, frost-cracked lips bleeding, ordered, "Column up, Hagaru-ri, 12 miles south." Jim's squad, 25 men, joined a convoy, M26 Pershings, M4 Shermans, and deuce-and-a-half trucks, their tracks grinding ice. The retreat began at 1400 hours. Chinese ambushed at Toktong Pass, 3 miles out, their Type 50 SMGs and 60mm mortars raining fire. Jim's platoon fired, Garand's cracking, dropping enemies at 300 yards. A bar team, firing 20-round bursts, held a ridge, but a satchel charge exploded, flipping a Sherman, its 75mm gun silenced. Jim dragged Private Joe Buck Larson from the wreckage, shrapnel in his leg. "Move, Buck." He tied a tourniquet, blood freezing on the bandage, Buck's groan fading. The line pushed, bayonets clashing, Jim thrusting at a Chinese soldier, guilt searing his soul. The convoy crawled, minus 35-degree F winds howling, trucks skidding on ice. Chinese 122mm howitzers pounded a bridge at Chinhung-ni, forcing a detour. Jim's squad linked with a recoilless rifle team, their 75mm rounds blasting Chinese positions at 500 yards. Ammunition dwindled, Garand clips to 5 rounds, bar belts nearly gone. Captain Harris rallied, "Fight through! Hagaru-ri's our anchor!" Jim's platoon charged, Garands and M9 grenades clearing a path, bodies piling in the snow. Night brought horror. Chinese sappers mined the road, a blast killing 10 Marines, including a radio operator. Jim pulled survivors, his hands numb, frostbite blackening his fingertips. A corpseman, frostbitten himself, injected morphine, muttering, "We're done, Holloway." Jim shook him. "Not yet." The aid station, a gutted barn, overflowed, 200 wounded, corpsemen amputating toes with bayonets, no anesthesia. He wrapped a private's chest wound, whispering, "You'll make it," knowing the lie. A Chinese prisoner captured at Koto-ri shivered. "You escape, but many die." Intelligence confirmed December 1. 30,000 UN troops, including 3,000 army stragglers, faced annihilation. By December 2, Hagaru-ri loomed, its airstrip a lifeline. C-47 Sky trains dropped 1,500 tons, ammo, blankets, medical kits, but flaked down 2, their wreckage smoking. Jim's squad fought through, Pershings blasting, their 90mm guns roaring. He found Tom's scarf again near a burned truck, hope a flicker. At 1800 hours, Hagaru-ri's perimeter held, 4,000 Marines dug in, 1,000 wounded, evacuated. Jim collapsed, Garand iced, blood on his hands. The breakout's first leg won, but at cost. As snow fell, Jim Holloway, scarred and weary, prepared for the march to Hungnam. March 1951 brought Jim Holloway, now 22, back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, his Marine uniform hanging loose on a frame gaunt from Chosin. Discharged from the 1st Marine Division after the Hungnam evacuation, 100,000 UN troops and civilians saved by Christmas 1950, he carried an M1 Garand, its stock scarred, and Tom's blood-stained scarf, a relic of loss. The 7th Marines breakout cost 17,000 casualties, 4,000 dead, per division logs, and Jim bore frostbite scars and survivor's guilt. His mother, Elsie, met him at the bus depot, tears freezing in the Oklahoma wind. "You're home, Jimmy." But Tom's absence loomed, his fate sealed in a Chinese POW camp, died of dysentery, word reaching Elsie in '52. Jim's father, Hank, a mechanic, handed him a wrench. "Fix cars, not wars." But nightmares struck, Chinese bugles, Red Malone's dying groan, waking him in sweats. He took a job at a garage, hands trembling on engines. The M1 Garand hung above his workbench. The Korean War faded from headlines. Armistice signed, July 27, 1953, 36,000 U.S. dead. But Jim joined the VFW, advocating for Chosin vets. A letter from Captain Harris, now retired, read, "You saved Buck. Honor that." Buck Larson, leg amputated at Hagaru-ri, visited, prosthetic clacking. "We made it, Duck." In 1955, Jim married Mary, a nurse from the VA, her calm soothing his tremors. Their son, Thomas "Tommy" Holloway, born 1957, grew up on Chosin tales, the Garand his toy. But Jim's PTSD, then called battle fatigue, deepened. He'd freeze at fireworks, hands mimicking Garand reloads. Mary enrolled him in group therapy, where a Marine shared, "Lost my platoon at Chosin. You're not alone." Jim spoke of Udam-ni, tears falling, healing slow as frost thawed. The 1960s brought Vietnam's draft. Jim, 31, opposed it, marching with peace groups. "Chosin taught me war's cost, 54,000 dead there." Tommy, 13, asked, "Why'd you fight, Dad?" Jim, holding the Garand, replied, "For you, son, so you wouldn't have to." But in 1968, Tommy, 21, enlisted, the Garand his request. Jim wept, "Don't lose yourself." Mary's death in 72, cancer, left him hollow, the VFW his refuge. By 1980, Jim, 51, visited the Chosin Reservoir Memorial in San Diego, snow-dusted bronze honoring 17,000. A vet, frostbit like him, shared a cigarette. "We're the frozen few." Jim nodded, Tom's scarf in hand. In 85, he wrote a memoir, Frozen Thunder. Its pages read at VFW halls, raising $10,000 for vets. Tommy's letter stopped in 69. Hue City, KIA, per Marine Records. Jim placed the Garand in a case, its legacy heavy. He died in 1995, heart failure at 66, Tommy's dog tags beside him. His epitaph, James Holloway, Chosin Marine, Thunder Endured. The Garand passed to a nephew, a quiet echo. January 1968 roared with chaos in Hue City, Vietnam, where Private Thomas Tommy Holloway Jr., 21, patrolled with the 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. The son of James Jim Holloway, the Chosin veteran, Tommy carried his father's M1 Garand, its 8-round 30-06 clip, a link to Korea's frozen hell. Drafted in 67, he'd trained at Camp Pendleton. The Garand's 9.5-pound weight, a burden he bore with pride. The Tet Offensive, begun January 31, turned Hue into a battlefield. 10,000 North Vietnamese Army, NVA troops, versus 11,000 Marines, per MACV reports, the city's citadel, a death trap. Tommy's squad, led by Lieutenant Mark Evans, navigated rubble-strewn streets, M16A1 rifles clattering alongside his Garand. The NVA, armed with AK-47s and RPG-7s, ambushed from pagodas, 7.62mm rounds pinging off walls. Tommy's platoon, 30 men, returned fire, his Garand barking at 300 yards, dropping an NVA sniper. A grenade exploded, shrapnel grazing his leg. Corporal Dave Doc Nguyen, a medic, patched him. "Stay low, Holloway." Tommy nodded, loading another clip, the Garand's ping echoing. Jim's lesson, one shot, one kill. The Citadel siege lasted 25 days. Tommy's squad cleared houses, Garand bayonet thrusting at an NVA soldier, blood soaking his fatigues. Intelligence reported 5,000 civilian deaths, 1,000 Marines lost, per U.S. Army logs. Ammunition ran low, Garand clips to 10 rounds, M16 mags scarce. Lieutenant Evans rallied, "Push to the Perfume River, hold the line." Tommy's platoon charged, Garands and M79 grenade launchers blasting, the river a crimson mirror. Night brought horror. NVA sappers mined a bridge, a blast killing 8 Marines, including Evans. Tommy pulled survivors, his leg bleeding, frostbite scars from Chosin's echo haunting him. An aid station, a bombed school, overflowed, 200 wounded, corpsmen amputating with scalpels. He wrapped a private's chest, whispering, "Dad's trick, hold on," using a belt tourniquet. A letter from Jim, mailed December 67, burned in his pocket. "Come home, Tommy, the Garand is enough." Guilt gnawed, he defied that plea. By February 24, Hue fell, NVA retreating, 2,500 Marine casualties logged. Tommy, promoted to corporal, limped to a medevac chopper, Garand slung, leg bandaged. He wrote Jim, "Made it, Dad. Your rifle saved me." The letter reached Tulsa too late. Jim's heart failed. February 15th, 1995. Tommy, discharged in 69, learned of his father's death, tears falling on the Garand. He visited the Vietnam Memorial in 71, tracing his name. KIA Hue, misreported, corrected to WIA. In 2000, Tommy, 43, joined the Chosin Few Association, sharing Chosin and Hue tales. His son, James III, 18, enlisted and carried the Garand to Afghanistan in 2010. Tommy died in 2015, cancer at 58. His epitaph, Thomas Holloway Jr., Hugh Marine, Echo of Thunder. James III in Kabul held the Garand, its legacy a bridge from Chosin snow to desert sands.